Greetings to you viewers from across the globe. You're welcome to the show Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. I'm your host, Odiawa AI for Veegil Media. You will do well to subscribe to this YouTube channel and follow us across various social media platforms. On the show today, we'll be talking about illegal mining in Nigeria, particularly influenced or instigated by foreign nationals and locals. To what extent and what damage has it impacted on the nation Nigeria? But first off, the headlines making the rounds on the political scene. Serap, 20 others sue Akpabio, Abbas for increasing their own budget. Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project, Serap, and 20 concerned Nigerians have filed a lawsuit against the Senate President Godswill Akpabio and Speaker of the House of Reps Tajuddin Abbas for unilaterally and arbitrarily increasing the allocation for lawmakers from 197 billion naira to 344 billion naira, their highest since the return of democracy in 1999. Serap, in a statement on Sunday, said Akpabio and Abbas are sued for themselves and on behalf of all members of the National Assembly. The lawmakers had last month raised their allocation from 197 billion naira proposed by President Bola Tinubu for them in the budget of 344 billion naira. The lawmakers will in total draw 514 billion naira from the 2024 budget. The lawmakers also in 2023 arbitrarily increased their own budget from the originally proposed 169 billion to 228 billion naira. In the suit filed last Friday at the Federal High Court, Abuja, the plaintiffs are asking the court to determine whether the lawmakers, in the exercise of their powers over appropriation monetary bills, can unilaterally increase their own budget without the representation of the budget by the executive. The suit filed on behalf of Serap and 20 concerned Nigerians by their lawyers, Kolawole Oluwadare and Andrew Wankwo, read in part, members of the National Assembly are public officers who have sworn the constitutional oath of office to perform their respective duties in the interest of Nigerian citizens. No date actually has been fixed for the hearing of the suit. In other news, IGP Egbetokun presents 2 billion naira to deceased cops' families in Abuja. Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun has presented checks worth 2.08 billion naira to the families of police officers who died in line of action in the last 5 years. He doled out the checks to 785 beneficiaries at the force headquarters in Abuja under the Group Life Assurance IGP Family Welfare Scheme package of the Nigerian Police Force. The force spokesman, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, disclosed this in a statement on Thursday. In other news, this is my time. Now, this is according to Ize Iyamu. He says he is still running for the Edo gubernatorial race. Two-time gubernatorial candidate in Edo State, Osage Ize Iyamu, has insisted that he is still an aspirant for the September 21, 2024 gubernatorial elections in Edo State. He was reacting to rumors of his disqualification from the APC next month by a screening committee allegedly constituted by former APC National Chairman Senator Adams Oshiomhole. The former gubernatorial candidate made these clarifications on arrival at the Benin airport. He confirmed to party supporters who gathered there that he would be going to the APC National Secretariat in Abuja to pick his nomination form. Ize Iyamu maintained that no screening committee disqualified him from contesting, even as he noted the allegations of interference in the party affairs leveled against Oshiomhole, which were baseless. Ize Iyamu contested against Governor Godwin Obaseki in 2016 and 2020, but lost. In other news, I won't run for any office again after my tenure. This is according to Governor Sule. Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule has said that he has no plan to run for any political office after finishing his second tenure as governor of the North Central State. The 64-year-old politician was elected governor in 2019 and is currently serving his second term following his victory in the March 18, 2023 polls. Speaking on a television show hours after the Supreme Court affirmed his electoral victory, Sule told his rival, David Ombugadu, the PDP gubernatorial candidate in last year's election, to wait for his time. He also expressed his joy that the election litigation was actually over. The Supreme Court dismissed the appeal of the PDP gubernatorial candidate against Sule's election as the governor of Nasarawa State. Reacting to his victory, Sule actually said, and I quote, "I am happy it is over, it is finished. That is the end of it, and we can now focus on the job and move on." The governor said he at no time entertained any fear of losing his seat ahead of the Apex Court judgment. In his defense of his victory in the polls, Governor Sule stated that he had been overwhelmingly voted for by the people of the state. He explained that his party had lost senatorial seats due to internal conflicts and not because of the decrease in support within the state. And that will be all for the headlines making the rounds on the political scene. Join us in the next phase of the show as we shed more light to underscore issues as regards illegal mining in Nigeria. You're welcome back to the show. The show is Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. You do well to follow us across various social media platforms and subscribe to this YouTube channel, Veegil Media. Moving on, we'll be talking about illegal mining or illicit mining activities in Nigeria. Now, as we speak, Nigeria appears to dish out, should I say, seasonal series or episodes every year. As last year, it was a tussle between political gladiators choosing the High Court or the Federal Court or various tribunals as the arena for them to settle scores. Now, in 2024, the year has actually greeted us with another seasonal episode. The illicit mining sector. Nigeria's mining sector is diverse in mineral resources that can actually makes a significant contribution to the nation's GDP. The country is endowed with an estimated $700 billion in commercially viable materials with the capacity to actually diversify its revenue resources and boost foreign exchange earnings. Its minerals include barytes, bitumen, iron ore, lead, zinc, or rather lead, zinc, coal, limestone, and gold. The list is endless. In any case, the mining sector is faced with multiple difficulties or challenges, and its current poor performance can be attributed to various factors, including misty extraction or opaque extraction, including insecurity and organized crime. Its natural resources have been exploited by foreign criminals for over decades, and the extractive sector is the most recent target. Since the early 2020s, several foreign nationals have been arrested or apprehended in Nigeria for their involvement in illicit mining activities. What has actually caused it is the policy inconsistencies which are relating to the extractive sector, and they have created disorder across mining sites and activities. Not to forget also the lack of comprehensive legislation facilitating the presence of illegal miners. The activities are actually characterized by inefficient manual mining techniques, illegal trading of highly priced minerals, severe ecological degradation, spread of diseases, and huge loss of revenue for the government through smuggling. Now, my question is, food for thought, like I always say, we need to wine and dine about this. What are the agencies responsible for surveying or actually putting up surveillance concerning the mining sector? What actually have they been doing? This has actually opened the door for foreign organized criminals to further exploit illicit minerals trading across the country. Now, most recently, foreign criminals have actually focused on gold mining in the banditry-affected communities of Nigeria's northwest and central areas. Loose criminals networks engaging in illegal gold mining have ties to foreign actors and actually facilitate trafficking flows. Most criminal markets for gold in the country are driven by foreign demand, but are actually proposed or rather brought up or propped up by local actors. Because an outsider can't just come in and discover something. It's an insider who will have to sell one out. Similar thing was playing the same game was being played during the slave trade. We were actually selling ourselves out. Now, foreign criminal networks operate similarly to local actors in illegal mining and have repositioned their activities in the criminal value chain through direct involvement in illicit gold mining in remote villages and forests. Definitely, these activities cannot take place in urban areas. They are always taking place in obscure areas which one would least expect or not even locate. Truth be told, looking at it from a microscopic view, the problem of illegal mining is actually driven by endemic corruption, misty mining regulations which are quite unclear for people to comprehend, poverty among even the residents of the host communities in question of the mining sites, and the readiness of the foreign nationals, irrespective of where they operate, to corrupt the system with foreign funds. Because you look at it, they give you $1, and $1 as we speak now is close to 1,000 plus. They are easily swayed. Now, this fuels illegal mining activities and its attendant security breaches. They are also ready to compromise the mining regulatory agencies and the local citizens. That should be called exploitation, let me put it that way. Because when they cut away these materials, I want to believe they give even those who are engaged in the manual labor peanuts. The situation is actually exacerbated by an inadequate visa approval. That is where that's another angle we should look at. And driven by incompetence and corruption, the Nigerian immigration authorities continue to issue tourist visas or travel visas or working visas to foreign workers, despite this group of people regularly staying back to work in Nigeria beyond visa expiration dates. And I think they need to be on their toes to make sure they actually fish out people who have actually flouted the expiration dates. Now, in March 2022, Nigerian Immigration Service in Niger State arrested over 200 foreign workers who had reportedly traveled or come into Nigeria with tourist visas and continued to stay after their travel permits had actually expired. This phenomenon was sustained by cumbersome visa approval processes by Nigerian authorities and outright violation of travel permits issued for foreign workers by Nigeria. Now, in a country currently contending with diverse forms of criminality from banditry, abductions, this emerging layer of foreign criminals in the extractive sector presents a serious security challenge if we should look at it. The country's government must actually accord some level of importance to the solid minerals as it does to the oil and gas sector. Because the oil and gas, fine, yes, there's a lot of money there, but that's not the only sector that should actually be plowed into. There are other sources there which are quite wide enough for one to, explore or extend our own tentacles. Solid minerals are some of the country's most critical national assets and should be guarded through a coordinated security response. If allowed to continue, foreign criminals could funnel illicit financings to armed or terror groups for greater success to access minerals. Now, if we look at it, most of these resources which are gathered from, we hear abductions. I or even you out there, the viewer out there, cannot be far from the truth that even the abductions are actually taking place. Why? Because they require manpower in these mining sites. Now, going over to the pace setter, which actually took place last week, the massive explosions that devastated the Bodija area of Ibadan, the capital of Oyo State, underscored the gross negligence of governments, law enforcement agencies, and the Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel to engage in surveillance, preempt illegal activities, and prevent the loss of lives and properties in the country. Actually, panic had actually rent the air after the explosives ignited balls of fire that were actually felt kilometers away from the explosion. The explosion which rocked the Bodija area of Ibadan injured and killed people in adjoining areas which also were hit by its tremors. The lead representative of the office, the governor's office actually, Oyo State Secretariat, the House of Assembly, the residence of former Minister of Justice Bola Ige, these areas were not even spared. Now, in course of findings, investigations have actually attributed the blast to explosives stored by illegal miners. But strikingly, Bodija is neither near a mining site, a military enclave, nor the outskirts where transportation of dangerous materials would have been successfully delivered undetected due to the laxity of the security architecture. There are questions which need to be asked. The state must actually rejig this security architecture, frankly speaking, step up intelligence gathering and encourage communities to whistle blow on suspicious activities within the neighborhood. Now, not only in Ibadan, but the rest of the whole nation, particularly Northwest, where the mining activities is actually pronounced. Now, unfortunately, illegal mining has become a menace in Nigeria. No doubt about that. The illegal miners are having a field day, wreaking havoc on the landscape, endangering terrorism and sabotaging potential government revenues from the sector. If we look at this, these illegal activities are actually making the government lose royalties and taxes daily, weekly, monthly. The Minister of Solid Minerals and Development, Dele Alake, one time lamented that mining contributed a mere 0.17% to the GDP from 2018 to 2022. There are proven 44 minerals which are located or dispersed all over the country. In Nigeria, illegal mining has become a major problem, like I said earlier on or began by saying, leading to considerable environmental damage, economic losses, and fueling insecurity. It cost the country close to $9 billion yearly. That's quite a huge sum which will just be going away, majorly from gold and other resources which I've also mentioned. Now, with the sole money coming from 3% royalty paid by a few licensed miners. Now, we're not here to disregard mining, but when it is done in a very reasonable manner, I think it is legal. But when it's done in a very crude manner, that's when it becomes illegal. Now, despite rising demand for solid minerals and having a substantial reserve, Nigeria has not actually maximized the opportunities and potentials of the solid minerals which are at our disposal. Some states have been identified as hotspots of illegal mining in Nigeria. For instance, illegal mining has persisted in Zamfara's gold-rich area. The lucrative nature of gold mining and unregulated mining practices have attracted criminal groups, resulting in regional disputes and instability. It is that period people will now begin to assume control over their domains. Plateau State, not forgetting, which is known for rich natural resources, has recorded illicit mining activities in the north-central region, including tin, columbite, and diamonds. Niger State is also there. It has also on its own part witnessed sand mining from riverbeds and floodplains without proper permissions. And this has resulted in erosions and loss of agricultural lands. Now, there are certain complexities which are actually surrounding illegal mining in Nigeria. First off, high poverty and unemployment. These have actually contributed to illegal mining. The country's high poverty and unemployment rates have fueled the growth of illegal mining. Why? Because they need to cater for their basic necessities, whether roofing, feeding, or clothing. Now, highlighting basic social, institutional, and structural issues in Nigeria, the governance structure. It also portrays persisting socioeconomic challenges, particularly the inadequate response to poverty and poor service delivery. People who are actually desperate, because if they were not desperate, they won't indulge in such meager manual labor, let me put it that way, for a living, to turn to illegal mining operations, disregarding the risk and repercussions. People have died and diseases can even sprout up from there. Also, law enforcement agencies and resource limits, their abilities to tackle illegal mining activities should come out more effectively. And might I say, it's not about wasting saliva or making use of the talking organ to keep restating comments and remarks. We need to prefer solutions. In addressing illegal mining in Nigeria, there is a need to reinforce a regulatory framework by improving current legislations and imposing harsher penalties for illicit or illegal mining. There ought to be improved collaborations among government entities in monitoring and enforcement. And it is our hope that the government should actually stand or be on its toes to address these illegal mining activities, which is actually either impovering the nation and even the citizens at large. I'm Bodija AI for Veegil Media, and the show has been Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. You do well to subscribe to this YouTube channel and follow us across various social media platforms. Thanks for watching.